what was the financial impact of the Amazon Web Services outage from Monday, October 20th, 2025? For those who did not know, Amazon's Web Services, they had a major outage that caused so many different companies to have downtime this past Monday, right? October 20th, 2025. For those watching in the future, this happened on Monday, October 20th, 2025. People woke up and it was happening. And I'll actually be reviewing, I'll be doing like a post-mortem on Friday's episode of the Bug Bite about what actually caused the AWS outage. It was high level, it was a DNS issue with one of their database services, but the intricacies of what would cause it is absolutely out of this world. All right. So, but let's find out exactly what is going on with this. I'm going to go over to here and we're going to put 5 minutes on the clock. All right. So it says the estimates on the financial impact. Can I zoom in some more? Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. The estimates on the financial impact of yesterday's, which would be Monday, October 20th, 2025. Yesterday's AWS outage ranged from hundreds of billions of dollars to over 75 million per hour. But one thing we can all agree on, it was pretty bad. So basically, PC Gamer magazine, written by Andy Edser, is estimating that the financial impact of the AWS outage is in the hundreds of billions to over 75 million per hour. And why is it so much? Because so many companies, they rely on AWS to keep their applications up and running. So for this type of issue, where it's this DNS issue, where all of their services get brought down, which means all of these other companies who rely on AWS get brought down, who rely on AWS US East 1 region get brought down. It's millions of dollars for all of these companies. All right. So let's read. A semi good thing is that it happened in the middle of the night. So if it happened in the middle of the day, it would have been a nightmare. It would have been a total nightmare. It was bad enough as it is, right? But it would have been bad. It says a butterfly flaps its wings again. I don't know what that means, but let's continue reading. It says large parts of the internet are still in a state of recovery today. Yeah, it took about 2 days for companies to recover. After yesterday's AWS outage took out, yesterday meaning Monday, October 20th, 2025, AWS outage took out large portions of our beloved World Wide Web, thanks to what appears to be relatively simple DNS error. Even Fortnite, yes, even Fortnite, y'all. Even Fortnite, Roblox, and Reddit dealt with significant disruptions, a fate worse than death for many of their users, I'm sure. Possibly. One thing that didn't go down for sure was YouTube, because YouTube does not use AWS. YouTube uses Google, right? They should. It says, as the dust begins to settle and services have in large part recovered, it's just left to the analysts to determine exactly how much financial damage was accrued. One such candidate is the CEO of the internet monitoring firm Catchpoint, Mehdi Daoud, who spoke to CNN about the fallout from AWS's rather public face plant. Yes, that was a face plant.
Bruh. Congratulations, you played yourself.
It says the incident highlights the complexity and fragility of the internet, as well as how much every aspect of our work depends on the internet to work. That is so true. Because when you think about it now, right? Even validate, like, now that everything is a SaaS model, even if you have a software on your local machine, right? You still need to connect to a licensing server, and if that licensing server is going through AWS, you probably weren't able to use your application in the middle of the night, or that morning, because AWS is down. It can't connect to the subscription server to make sure that things are working, right? That's how the cookie crumbles, all right? Let's see. It says the financial impact of this outage will easily reach into the hundreds of billions due to loss in productivity for millions of workers that cannot do their job, plus business operations that are stopped or delayed from airlines to factories. That is true. It's hardcore truth. If people can't work, that's guess what? The companies still have to pay them for being there. And services cannot be rendered to your clients as well. It's crazy. It is crazy. All right. Let me see. It says while that figure initially seems excessive, when you take into account the scope of the outage, it's perhaps not too far out from the realm of plausibility. After all, Amazon Web Services is said to be the largest cloud provider in existence, estimated to command around 30% of the global market share. And this is from people all over the world. Now, I don't think people in other parts of the world might have had experienced this issue well.
Get a move on, back to work, chop, chop, let's go. Come on, get a move on. Back to work, back to work, back to work.
I take that back. Why do I take that back? So I take that back because just because you might be using, let's say, EUS1, because let's say you're in Europe, right? Europe, EUS1 is based in Ireland. That's where that data center is. But that doesn't mean that the routing in the DNS doesn't happen through the US East 1 DynamoDB, which was the root cause of the issue. So that's a question. Would your service being hosted in another region, does it still route through the DynamoDB that is in US East 1 to handle the DNS? So that, I don't know, that is something to think about. That is something to think about, all right? Let's see. It says, and of course, a large number of businesses using its service engage in e-commerce, not least of all Amazon itself. So a large number of businesses using its service engage in e-commerce, not least of all Amazon itself. So even Amazon's, I didn't check Amazon's website that morning, to be honest with you, right? Because we're dealing with our own issues. It's difficult to get an exact figure as to how much Amazon's retail behemoth alone makes in 24 hours, but the total revenue across its services is estimated to be about 1.75 billion per day. Y'all see? Amazon's estimated total revenue across its services is estimated at 1.75 billion, not per year, per day, y'all. With retail sales being one of the largest contributors next to, well, its AWS platform. Yes, Jeff Bezos is very pleased, I'm sure. Less so yesterday. I'm also fairly confident in saying as its US retail site stumbled for many, including us, we were looking for GPU deals, of course. We still found some, just saying. Anyway, factor in the e-commerce relying on AWS platform, including Amazon itself, and that's likely a substantial $1 billion chunk right there, even if their disruption only lasted an hour or two. And of course, e-commerce is just one potential loser. Data from UI design agency Tenscope suggests that while Amazon was losing, while they're using $72,831,050 per hour, others like Snapchat, Zoom, Roblox, etc. account for roughly $75 million per hour total. Oof, my goodness. So while Amazon was losing $72 million per hour, others like Snapchat, Zoom, Roblox account for a rough $75 million per hour as well. Loss across 8 companies, while delivery company Parcel Hero pointed to $5.4 billion loss for Fortune 500 companies like in the CrowdStrike disaster as an example of potential figures. That is totally insane. It says rough figures and wildly differing estimates. I'm sure you'll agree. The reason why it's so difficult to pin down an exact number on revenue loss during such a massive outage are multiple and complicated. After all, how do you put a monetary value on individual workers' time, as many were left twiddling their thumbs while they waited for key services to come back online? Whew. Or as Dadu states, or die? Oh, I'm sorry. The knock-on effect of major infrastructure stumbles like delayed flights or banking services lagging or even major crypto transactions being delayed or disrupted. Yes, crypto is a big deal these days. I'm as disappointed as you are. Regardless, the whole thing brings to mind the aforementioned CrowdStrike bug in which a borked security update caused Microsoft infrastructure the world over to crumble, causing chaos wherever it went. And again, it makes me think about the fragility of our ever interconnected world when so much of our infrastructure, economic or otherwise, is reliant on a handful of platforms. Significant disruptions like this really do look like they might become something of a running theme in years to come. I don't know about that because, I mean, yeah, they will, but these things that happen are so rare. They're so rare that when they do happen, it becomes a big deal and they're all over the news. But because if these could be common, then they'll be talking about it a lot more often. But I really, it's not something that's going to happen on a regular basis. I know that for sure. Sure, this is the first big one that we've experienced in over a year. But, and here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. This is totally different. This is a totally different outage than CrowdStrike because with the CrowdStrike outage, that was a software update that affected hardware that caused Microsoft, like Windows, to not be able to start up. This one is connectivity to the internet. So they're two totally different issues that happened. And I honestly don't think CrowdStrike is that big to be compared to AWS outage. And there were two totally different issues, right? It says, sure, this is the first big one we've experienced in over a year, but all it takes is one digital butterfly to flap its wings and a whole lot of money seems certain to blow away in the wind. So that was a butterfly reference. All right. That's it. That is it. Interesting as it is. I haven't really heard much talk about this outage as I would expect to. It rumbled for that day, but companies were trying to recover. Maybe we'll hear more about it, the total cost that it had. I'm not sure. I am not sure, but.
You said it was mended, but it's still the same. Words like bandages, that don't stop the pain. Yeah. Hey. I held your words like glass in my hands, sharp truths and smooth demands. You say you'd mend the cracks I see, but promises break so easily. I trusted the stars, but they all fell down. Every promise made just spins around. The truth feels fake, the lies too real. I'm caught in a loop I can't unfeel. I reach, but it slips away. Truths turn shadows in the light of day. I don't know what to believe anymore. Everything just opens another door. Confidence feels like a hollow sound. I look for answers, but they can't be found. You paint the sky with a perfect hue, a shade of trust that fades to blue. I step forward, fall right through. Your mirror's cracked, and so are you. Tell me, what's the game? Truth and lies, they sound the same. Through my open hand, yeah. Your confidence is a polished mask, hiding the answers I forgot to ask. I don't know what to believe anymore. Every fix just opens another door. Confidence feels like a hollow sound. I look for answers, but they can't be found. Is it me who's blind or you who lies? Is it hope or hurt that keeps me tied? I'm a thread unwrapped,